How are we now? And welcome to the shed. I hope you like the new intro. If not, just leave a comment below and we'll go back to the old one. Well, today is the day I've got my frame back. I was like a little child that was off to get their first puppy. And when I turned up at Nantwich Powder Coating in Wrenbury, I saw it hung up and I was not disappointed. Mike has done one fantastic job. Now, I was going to do a little video of Mike doing a bit of powder coating, but when I got there he'd got people in because he couldn't get the heating room to work. So that blew that one out of the water. I mentioned it to him that I was doing this rebuild and he said, well, if you'd have told me, I'd have done a video of me powder coating your frame for you. So that'll teach me. Maybe I should open my mouth instead of just keeping it inside thinking, oh, I'll do that. Whenever I've had a frame powder coated, I've always had to get the tap and die set out, clean all the holes out, because the place that did the powder coating for me didn't bother bunging all the holes up. Well, I can't say that about Mike. Every single one, I think he missed 2 of the holes, were basically clear. I was well impressed. Just goes to show that he does think about the job before he actually starts doing it. He's not thinking of the money. So I can highly recommend Nantwich Powder Coating in Wrenbury, Nantwich, Cheshire. And no, I haven't been paid to say what I've just said, and I didn't get any discount. I would thoroughly recommend this guy. I did run a tap down some of the holes just to be on the safe side, but like I say, most of them were clear, so it wasn't an issue. Time to fit the VIN plate. Fairly simple job really, or it should have been. 3mm drill bit just to drill out the old rivets and then replace them with new rivets. I did make sure, obviously, before I took it the powder coaters, that I took the VIN plate off. Had an issue with my pot rivet gun on one of the rivets. Placed it over the rivet, clamped the pliers, and for some unknown reason the pin on the pot rivet actually broke halfway down instead of breaking flush with the head. So I just took a pair of side cutters and cut the excess off the rivet, so it's now flush. So the old girl's got her identity back. So we now have a frame with a nice shiny VIN plate on it. I also put the frame to engine spacers in as well, they just slid in quite nicely. I also started fitting a few more ancillaries. Got the expansion bottle on now, also put the fuel pump on. And then set to putting the head race bearing cups back in, which turned out to be a bit of a job on one of them because it didn't want to go, but that was down to me, but I got it sorted in the end. Okay, right, so it's now down to putting the swinging arm, shock absorber, etc. on. already greased the needle roller bearings inside the swinging arm, so they were sorted. Put the end caps on, also put the chain protector on, greased up the pivot, and then popped it straight back into the frame. Torqued everything up to Suzuki specifications, so that's all spot on. Then fitted the brake torque arm. Now this was the one part that I did have a slight problem with the top mounting on the frame itself. Powder coating was nice and thick and I couldn't actually get the bolt through the hole. So I ended up with my little rat tail file and just filed a little bit of the powder coating off. Took a little bit longer than I thought because obviously it was taking me time. Bolts all greased and fitted, then again all the bolts torqued up, and I have found there's a tiny little bit of play in the swinging arm, so I'm wondering if we may have a worn bearing. Had another nosy on the Suzuki site to see how much bearings and pins were, and I nearly fell over. 2 little needle roller bearings and 1 pin is just over £104. I'll be down my local engineering company tomorrow and I'll price up a bearing. I've got the sizes. Fitting the back wheel up, fairly straightforward job, so basically just greased up the spindle and got the spacers ready and basically put it in. Dead easy. Handy having the front end all complete. Took the top yoke off, basically greased all the bearings, slid the complete front end on, put the nuts on, torqued them up, jobbed. Et voila, we have one rolling chassis. Right, so now the exciting bit, putting the engine back in. Got my little hydraulic trolley out, put the bike over the trolley, and then realised that the engine wouldn't fit underneath the frame. Again, what a knob. But got it something like lined up, and then used the hydraulic trolley to lift the engine into place. Now, that sounds easy, but trust me, it wasn't. I do like these little V-twins because they're nice and light, not like the inline 4s. So it was fairly simple to just move things around and get things in line-ish. Putting the first engine mounting bolt in was quite funny. I thought I'll try it just before I start filming. The bolt slid straight through the hole, through the engine to the other side, no problem whatsoever. Turned the camera on, greased up the bolt, tried to put it in, and it wouldn't go in. So more wiggling and poking and one thing and another, and we did actually get it in eventually. It was nice getting the first bolt in because then you know that it should be fairly easy to get the rest of them in. And that was the case for this, really. Made sure I put some grease on the bolts before I put them through the engine, save any corrosion issues in the future. And one by one fitted all the bolts and the spacers in. With regards to the castellated bolts on the right hand side, haven't got a special tool, as I said before, in the strip down, so my cold chisel worked wonders once again. Well, that's it. We've now got a rolling chassis with an engine. Got the wonders of wiring to come next, which will be the next video. Things have moved on a pace, which is good, so fingers crossed, won't be long before we've got a nice running little bike. And that's then when the hard work starts, when I've got to work out how I can do the styling and how I can fit the exhaust, and then I've got the paint, but we'll carry on. I've got a couple of ideas, been thrashing them around with the missus, so think we've chosen the colour. We'll have to wait and see. I'll get on Photoshop and have a play, see what we can sort out. So there we go, that's it. Love you and leave you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you on the next instalment.